Thanks for joining us for part 2 with Marcus Trummer. In this episode, we dig a little deeper into why Marcus makes the music he does, what kinds of practices he maintains to better himself constantly, and why he feels compelled to make music and to pursue a life in it. We'll also get to hear another tune from him and his fantastic band. Marcus and his drummer Silas are actually brothers, and I think you can really hear that in terms of how they're able to ebb and flow together. It's something we get to talk a little bit about. They're a band in a way that not a lot of bands are anymore, which is they put the time in and they really focus on giving it their all, and really giving themselves over to the craft. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's for as many people as are just doing singles nowadays. Like, at least for me as a nerd, when I go to check someone out, I want to dive into an album. I want to pick an album and dive into it. And just like even organizationally, when you go on Spotify and you go, okay, this person's got 20 songs, but they're all singles. Like, where do I start? How do I like string them together? Do I just like start at the most popular one and like, whereas if it's this record, you can go, or like you get super into someone and then you go, okay, I'm starting at the top. I'm going to the first record and I'm going to work my way through.
Oh, totally.
And you can kind of like, there are these documents, right? Like if this is your first full length, then like way down the road, people can come back to it and go, okay, that's where he was at this point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is how it sounded now. And then the next thing had this change. I don't know. It seems like it's debated whether or not the album's dead. And I sort of think that the album as like an artistic product is going to outlive like our current form of listening to music, which is causing
absolutely
us to go down the singles route.
And if you look at pretty much any established artist, they're still releasing albums. It's just the people on the come up that seem to really stick to singles, which I understand why. You know, there's a lot more upside to releasing just singles. A chance that one might pop off on social media or whatever, becomes a hit. Whereas with the album, you know, it's a bit harder to do that. There's less attention paid to every song. But yeah, there's something to that, and just like having a project that listeners can go deep on and really get to know me and what I'm all about. And we have some variation on the record too in terms of genre and style, which I think is also cool. Because if I just release one single, then people are like, oh, now he's going in rock direction. What is this? Now he's R&B, but as a record, you kind of get an understanding of who I am, and that I'm not just one thing, but I'm all these things together. You know, whether it's more rock-leaning songs, or more, soul and R&B leaning, and blues obviously is kind of like the thread that runs through everything. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really happy. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. I've always been a live guy. I really loved performing live. Didn't really like fantasize about releasing albums or anything like that. But over time, I just realized, like, yeah, this is what you got to do, and this is what's going to get us to the next level. And then falling in love with songwriting over the past handful of years and really getting into that kind of worked out. And yeah, I'm happy with the album. It's I think people are gonna like it. I think if you're into the old school approach, for sure, why not? And we got physical copies too for the real old school folks. Actually, the vinyl has been selling pretty well. We did our album release show and we sold, I think, almost half of the vinyl we brought out to the show. So I wasn't expecting it to sell that much. I think people are really into the wax these days.
Yeah, it's almost like it's one of those ceremonial things. It's like there's also an attention to it. Like if you actually have the space carved out, I don't know. I find with records, it's like they're such an impractical means of listening to music for me that by the time I am listening to one, it's like, okay, it's got my attention. Like I'm going downstairs, I'm picking it out. I can't skip easily. It's totally almost like there's even something to like I have a 1988 Chevy truck with a tape deck in it, and when you listen to tapes, like you're not skipping on tapes either.
Right.
And like being stuck with like, yeah, there's something to be said for like not having a skip button.
Yeah, you're trying to take in the album as a whole, as opposed to just I just want to hear my favorite song. And there's it's really cool, because then the meaning gets expanded to not just one song alone, but the collection of songs, and how do these all kind of tell a story. and showcase different sides. For me, my album, a lot of it is written, like I said, growing up, going through these modern times, feeling a little out of place, and then also having to grow up with the pandemic that happening and all of the, craziness around that. I think every song kind of provides a little bit of a different perspective on what it's like to be me, to be kind of, I feel like a little bit of an outlier in my approach to music and in my approach to life and kind of what I care about. And so as people listen to the record, they'll probably find different sides to me that they might not expect,
I mean, there's definitely something, like, I think we're similar in age. There's definitely something to be said for being a young person who's becomes endeared to any kind of roots music compared to, like, because it isn't what's cool. It's not like, it's not what's cool for your demographic. And, like, I'm sure you probably find yourself in a lot of situations hanging around a bunch of old guys.
A lot of cougars too. At those, especially playing those old blues bars.
I didn't know there were that many of them in Banff, but
no, there's some cougars out there, that's for sure.
But the like to find yourself in the position of being into, a kind of a historic and a legacy art form, and then there's a whole lifestyle element to it too, right? Like, but you've embraced this lifestyle of, like, doing something with your hands where you gotta, like, the whole thing basically romanticizes old technology, right? Like a guitar with strings on it through a magnet,
no auto tune, that's for sure,
right, into a tube amp, like,
yeah, old school tube amps. Yeah, we're doing it the old school way for sure.
So, like, what ways do you feel like what things about your personality that endears you to that kind of lifestyle and art form and stuff, like how do you feel that you do or don't fit in the modern world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not with all, like, the modern connectivity, like the being available, for contact at all times, by everybody you've ever met is a little bit crazy to me. And I still get freaked out when I, like, see, like, the other day there was, like, an AirTag notification I got because, like, someone we were with went to a restaurant with us. They had an AirTag. It's just like being tracked by my phone. It's the phones, really. That's the biggest thing. All this technology is great for keeping in touch with people and being able to do cool stuff. And I love that aspect of it. But I feel like it takes away a little bit of, obviously, our relationships and kind of the depth of that. And you're always thinking, oh, I could be somewhere else doing something else. Some of the presence kind of gets taken away, I think. Of course, I grew up never really without technology, which is crazy to think. There was always, smartphones, or at least, iPod touches or whatever, iPads, right? So I never really got to experience that, but I definitely feel a little bit of a nostalgia for something that I never really got to experience. Being just so dependent on our phones. And I think, with my music, what I really care about is authenticity, and I think so not using auto-tune, not using, programmed instruments is really important to me. And then also in the message too, like, not just writing music to make a buck, right? Like, what's the point of what you're doing? Is there a deeper message behind it? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to just, like, make some noise for the heck of it? Like, what's the purpose behind what you're doing? And so I've always thought about that. And I think, yeah, just in our modern world, some of that gets lost, you know, rather than focusing on the purpose behind writing a song and what, you know, it's about. People want to go right to, how am I going to, you know, make a TikTok for this?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to get people to, you know, follow me? And when they didn't even think about how good their song was, or how like deep the lyrics are, what does it actually matter, you know? So I think starting from that point is really important for me, and I think it's definitely something that seems a little bit lacking these days, but you know, you find lots of people out there too, like that do value that depth. You know, it might be a rare thing, but it's not totally gone, you know.
You know, I mean, like, I think about it sometimes. Like, it's easy to get in this zone of like, it's easy to get nostalgic. It's especially easy to get nostalgic for something you didn't live. It's easy to like look at the 60s and be like, that was the best. Like, Woodstock was
watch
the coolest.
all the old movies, right. and you know,
you can like really romanticize it. But what there is like definitely like there is definitely a culture of short attention spans. Like, do you remember anything you see scrolling through Instagram ever? Like,
right.
You're bombarded by so many things so fast, but you do remember. So, like, you do remember that movie that, like,
yeah.
Like, there's a scene in Good Will Hunting that I can quote the exact words to because it, like, you know, is such an impactful scene to me. I can't say there's, like, an Instagram reel that has done that for me.
Yeah.
And in the same way with music, like, if you... I mean, people can chase what seems to me to be like pretty vapid and short-winded, and there are people doing it, like trying to make viral songs. But at the same time, like, you know, there's definitely something to be said, and it not to be undervalued about connecting something with someone that makes them feel something that they'll take with them through the rest of their lives, Like, there's that song that your older brother showed you that blew your mind and made you want to pick up guitar, and you're always going to be able to remember how that made you feel. So there's definitely, like, I don't know, I think, like, in people that isn't lost. It's just maybe got a bunch of static around it.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got like a soul, and we've all got a soul that, you know, longs for connection and love and to be seen. And I think, you know, we live in a very fast moving, very consumerist kind of culture where everything is just, you know, an instant fix, and it's just all kind of distractions, and everyone's trying to sell you something, and things are just coming your way on a conveyor belt that's never ending. And that's not the solution to that desire for connection and love. And you know, no matter how someone may try to distract themselves or try to, you know, numb themselves to that deep, you know, human need, I don't think it's ever going to go away. And so, you know, we all feel that. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of lonely people out there. There's a lot of hurting people out there. And I think, you know, what's generally provided is a bunch of crap. And I think that there are people longing for that. And I really have the goal of trying to be different, trying to create, you know, very positive experiences with my shows. Try to make something special, make something where I'm present, where the audience can be present, and we can feel connected, and kind of, you know, feel, you know, for once not alone, right? So I think, you know, it's Yeah, it's definitely crazy out here, but I think I feel very, very blessed to have music, to have this talent and this ability, and to be able to try and use it for good, you know, and that's ultimately the goal at the end of the day. I'm not really, you know, obviously nice to make a living or whatever, but that's really it. I'm not trying to get famous or rich, you know what I mean? It's more about how can I be great and do something great, and how can I inspire others and provide, you know, as much value to others as possible too. I think that's something, you know, you got to keep in mind. And you know, you get distracted sometimes too from that goal, as we all do with our, you know, our just selfish, you know, tendencies, you know, and with, you know, getting too into the ego side of things, you know, it's easy to start making it all about you and whatnot. So I'm not saying I'm perfect at all, but try my best to, you know, have the purest of intentions as possible, you know, with what I'm doing, and just learning more over time how to do that best, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got this deep kind of spiritual connection to music. I mean, your drummer is your brother. What kind of environment did you grow up in when it related to music?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's always been a part of the family. Both my parents play instruments. Just there's something that's been passed down through that. Obviously, my dad plays guitar. He showed me guitar. But yeah, it's always been a part of my life. And then I think you mentioned the spiritual aspect. I think growing up in the church did, like, expose me to some of those perspectives on life. And yeah, there is a deeper realm. And for me, it's just like mostly about like purpose. That's what I care about most, is why are you doing something, you know? I'm not necessarily worried about making or having it all figured out in terms of a God and the, how everything like that. It's more like, if you're gonna do something, you know, you need to know why you're doing it. You need to know, you know, what the point is. Otherwise, why do it at all, right? And so, I think that's something that's always just been, I guess, taught to me. You know, is the importance of having purpose to what you do. And you know, I've tried to think about that as I've gone about diving into doing music as a career, and not just thinking solely about, you know, making money, or, you know, what kind of, you know, fans and what kind of recognition I can get, but what can I do with this gift? So I definitely credit my parents. They've been very, you know, very good parents, and I guess instilling some of these things in me. But I don't know. There's something, you know, you're a product of your upbringing and all your experiences, right? I guess kind of all brought me to this point, and now I'm gonna carry forwards and just keep giving, or keep sharing my gift, you know, to the greatest extent I can. And yeah, like I said, just really excited to get out there and play for as many people as possible, you know, especially with the album out now, right? So having that kind of, you know, give us a little wind in our sails, you know, to get those opportunities and share the music far and wide, hopefully.
Do you have label support behind touring? Do you have, like, what's the kind of plan of attack for delivering the product to the people?
Yeah, that's the hard thing, right? You know, traveling costs a lot, and getting out there is hard. I think we're hoping to do as much festivals as we can, because those are always great opportunities. And then you can sort of build out from there, and that gives you a reason to go somewhere, and then book shows along the way. And we're definitely thinking big. Canada is actually a bit of a tougher place to tour, and so right away I'm big on getting over to Europe and the UK, and big on the States as well. Obviously, with my genre being so deeply rooted in United States history, that feels like kind of my my homeland in a way, and so we're hoping to get down there as well. I just played my first festival in the States this past summer in Telluride, and the Telluride Blues and Brews Fest, and it's a great experience. So definitely hoping to do more of that stuff for sure. But we'll just be getting out there, giving her on the road, packing up the van and going.
Like, there's kind of a theme of like expressing these sentiments of searching for authenticity in life and experiences and stuff. Do you find that, like, Joe Pug talks about touring like being a pirate almost? You like go to the city and get the bounty and try to sell merch,
you're like a explorer, like you're going and conquering, especially when you're going with your band, right? And that's always been my favorite thing in the world is breaking new ground, and like, oh, we're gonna go to this place we've never been, and we're gonna bring all this gear with us, and we hope people like it, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting, and it's a big world out there. And like I say, with my music, I want to help create beautiful experiences for people, and I want to bring that positivity to as many people as I can. And so it's always exciting going somewhere new and meeting new people. I love it. It's the best.
Cool. Well, is that good time-wise? Cool. Well, thanks so much for doing this. It's been cool to chat with you, and I'm excited for everything you're doing. Hope that we can help you get the word out.
Man, I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for having me on, and maybe we'll see some of y'all out on the road somewhere. Hopefully coming to a town near you soon.
Sweet. All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.
And cut.